Okay, well, welcome everybody. I am super excited to have this assembled panel together. What a group. We had a call last week and I referenced them as the 92 Dream Team. And so I'm excited to bring this group together and looking forward to the Automotive AI Summit that we're going to be discussing today. Really, this topic is around mobile service. It isn't just convenience, it's an opportunity. What everybody is missing. And we brought a great group of individuals here. Some are actively using mobile today, and then some are going to be heading in that direction here very soon. So we'll talk a little bit about that, but I would like to have them introduce themselves just briefly of who they are and where they're coming from, and then we'll jump into some questions. So we'll start, at least on my screen, we let Michael up at the top there.
Great, thank you. I'm Michael Schmickle. I'm with San Marcos Dodge in beautiful San Marcos, Texas, right in between Austin and San Antonio. And we're excited to be here. Thank you.
Great. It's so great to have you. And next, Robert.
Hey, Robert Migliaccio, CMA's Valley Dealerships Service Director here. We're in Stanton, Virginia, which is on the western part of Virginia here. And again, just excited to be part of the group. Appreciate it.
Great, thanks. And I'm glad you were able to say your last name. I was going to take a stab at that. But, and going along the same different last names, Nolan.
Yep, Nolan Armpriester, Director of Operations for Kinley Automotive Group in Eastern Pennsylvania. I'm just excited to be here and contribute to the mobile panel.
Great. And we'll get into some specifics, but a little teaser. How many mobile vans do you have, Nolan?
33.
Only 33. Just getting started.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, great. It's so great to have you a part of this group. And last, we have Richard.
Hi, I'm Rich Lupo, Service Fixed Ops Director at Apple Tree, Honda, and Acura in Western North Carolina.
So you guys can see we have a blend of 4 different OEMs on this call today, which is great to have a different perspective from everybody. So Richard, as he mentioned, with Honda, and Nolan with Ford, and then Robert and Michael with Chrysler, Stellantis, but Robert's a part of a bigger group that has a number of brands. So again, very excited to have you guys and love to just kind of jump right into some questions around technology and what you guys are looking at, what's been popular. I know Richard's been very active on the circuit the last few days in a lot of interviews. Yeah, as he nods. But again, and I know that all of you are always on and invited on panels. And, you know, that's what's great about having thought leaders, industry experts is really what I look to you guys at. Forward thinking, and then in some cases outside the box. You don't really say, I'm going to just continue to do the same things that we've always done. And that's what's great about including this group. So along those lines, I guess I'll throw the first question to Nolan. You know, you've been doing probably mobile the longest. You know, how did you initially structure mobile, and how did you make it a dedicated business line? What was your approach with mobile from where you started to really where you're at today?
Sure. I mean, it's a great question. Just like everybody, we started small. We started with one van. I pulled a technician out of my main shop, one of my more trusted guys, and we kind of piloted the program with him. We then hired a new tech and paired him with our more experienced guy. And we really started off by going B2C and B2B. B2B being the biggest to start, other dealerships, car lots, just taking care of the open recalls on the lot was the easiest path into it. And, you know, we found some opportunities in the fleet space. And once we started identifying those opportunities and filling that need, we were able to scale very quickly at that point because the demand was just there to support the investment at that point. So.
Yeah, it's been interesting. We've talked to dealer groups, you know, their approach and, you know, whether it's starting in recall and fleet, as you spoke about. I'd like to, you know, ask Michael the same question, you know, who's recently started mobile, but had some early success. In fact, Michael, you've already just added a second van to your location. So maybe talk to the group about your approach and what you've done.
It's real similar to Nolan's. We started early on. We started in the parking lot, trying to figure out how to operate the system, how to know what tools we needed on the truck, and then how to map it, how to write the ticket, how to get the information, to the tech and then to the customer. And of course, that's when we got hooked up with Spiffy, which helped us get started in that program on the technological side. But it ramps up real fast. We did recalls with the consumer. We did recalls at the car lots. We've done some recalls at fleets. We started talking to customers as they purchase cars and started learning more about mobile and let the customers understand mobile, right? Because they didn't know we did it. They still don't know we do it. So now the oil change and the light repairs are starting to happen. And we picked up a couple big fleet accounts over the last 2 weeks. And I don't think it's going to be too long. I'm going to have 3 or 4 vans running, and probably in two shifts for sure. One of them wants to do it late in the evening. So we'll be running the night shift pretty fast, I think.
Well, super impressive. And I think, the education, the marketing, getting the word out.
Yeah.
In fact, Dave and Jeremy Stevens did a Mobile Monday broadcast. Mm-hmm. And I think you guys are all very familiar with the Bozard name and the mobile business that they have. And one that I found very interesting this week, Jeremy said, we still run into customers that don't even know we offer mobile. Right. And it's amazing with 41 vans and a town of 14,500 and then north into Jacksonville. It's pretty incredible.
What's funny is you can't drive in our lot without seeing something about mobile. I mean, I have it everywhere with Facebook and everywhere trying to get the word out, and it's difficult. We're doing some Chamber of Commerce things trying to get the word. So it's been fun, that's for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And so I want to flip over to Richard and Robert. I'll start with Richard and ask something similar. I mean, obviously you've seen some success of mobile with different brands, OEs that have been out there. Richard being at Honda, relatively from an OE perspective, not too many Hondas in the mobile game. So what was your original approach to this? I know you're very technology driven. So maybe walk us through kind of your thought process.
Well, I think we all understand the folly of just keep doing what we're doing, and not innovating. Certainly, you become less relevant over time as your competitors continue to innovate. So you can either be a part of that or you can get left behind. So, it's certainly a drive for us to stay on the leading edge of innovation, and mobile is the next iteration of that. I don't think there's any doubt about that. So staying competitive, being more relevant going forward, and actually in some cases leading the way is what the motivation is. There's customers out there that we're not able to serve in our current business model, and we hope to touch a whole bunch of new customers through this.
Great. Yeah, good perspective. And Robert, you come from a dealer group that's over 100 years old, generational, also equally impressive. So what has been your early approach to this and looking at the future with mobile?
So a lot of what it is for us specifically in my market where I'm at is our brick and mortar situation is kind of tied in with what it is. So, how can we expand on that without adding the expense structures of building additional property pieces and take in additional revenue without having to combat all that situation. So, we're in a position where we don't have the ability to expand our shop from where we are right now. So the obvious step and the best step for us to attack the market around us and those that are bleeding into our market is to step out and get to the customers where they are for us. So for me, it's a big aspect. I can go north and I can go south of where I'm at, and I got 2 different Chrysler stores that combat me. So if I can step into their playing field and get some customer base and allow them to still get to my doorstep when needed, it's a huge plus for us in that aspect of it. So that's kind of where we're focused at. What we're trying to do is increasing what our capacity is without having to increase the expenses that kind of follow with that.
Yeah, what a great approach. And we hear that often, right? The capacity constraints, or I'm 5 weeks out on appointments for the shop. What can we do? and mobile is certainly a solution. So you think of technology and innovation, that's certainly an offering that the customer experience is looking for. As we discuss that, the systems and tools are critical to your success. So what are those tools? And Nolan, will kind of come back to you around this. What are some of the systems and tools that you've used in mobile, but even maybe outside of mobile on your service drive that's helped you?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, obviously mobile is still new in the industry, or newer than people would like to think. And for a long time, there really wasn't anything out there. So, 4.5, 5 years ago, we pieced together our own systems, our own spreadsheets, our own tracking systems. But, what Spiffy has right now, in my opinion, is the best on the market for all aspects of tracking and efficiency. So I think right now it's a great time to get into mobile, because you're getting into it. It's still in its infancy, but there's systems such as Spiffy and some other groups that have built things out to help you get started. 4 or 5 years ago, again, we were creating Excel docs and shared Google Drive and, trying to figure it out that way, but you don't have to do that anymore. So I think that's the biggest jump that we've seen the past few years, is just the industry catching up with where mobile's going. And obviously Spiffy's been involved in mobile probably longer than most dealerships have. So you guys have a great start to it.
Yeah, we've had a lot of lessons learned over these 11 years. So what we're trying to do is accelerate the dealers to learn from some of the early mistakes that we may have met or that we learned from. And to your point, let's hand a playbook off and see what we can do to accelerate this dealer group. Michael, kind of the same question down in San Marcos. What technologies and systems are you using down there to run your fixed ops business?
Great. So, early on, I went to 2 Ford stores to look at their mobile system and how they were working. And they got big, huge maps on the wall, and they got little pins stuck in there where their vans are, and they got sticky notes over here, and they got the spreadsheet. They had 4 guys trying to keep up with 9 vans, and it was like, holy crud, that's going to be a mess to try to keep up with. And we started out that way. We started messing with it. Then we got a hold of, I went through 3 or 4 of the companies that are out there right now that have the software available, like Spiffy, and like Nolan. I chose Spiffy because it was more in tune to what we needed on the dealer side. So I also use a recall company that chases recalls for us out of our DMS system, and so that's helped a lot.
Yeah, no, and I think that's you're speaking about your core business and what tools and technology can help you. I know, Richard and Robert, since you're not quite there on the mobile just yet, so maybe you can speak about some other technology that you're using that could maybe cross over into mobile that you've had. So Richard, I know you have quite a bit, you experiment quite a bit. So maybe talk a little bit about what you've been using.
Well, on 2 fronts there, Troy, we have been talking for a while, and I'm aware of the software package, and I know that it integrates with Reynolds, and we're very pro Reynolds integration with the tools that we use. So, and I've looked at your software, and we're certainly start coming in to service with us, that's going to be part of the package. So 100% on that. And then the second thing is we have a relationship with an AI-driven company currently, Blink AI, and just like Michael, part of the package that we have with them chases recalls. So we're talking with them to develop some technology that will push those customers to schedule appointments mobile to get those recalls done.
Yeah, great. And I think that firsthand experience, I remember being in the dealer world where I used to always go in and ask the service advisors or directors, how many logons did they have?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, I mean, and when you start going, I have 55 logons for all these different technologies and systems, it could get overwhelming. So I think part of what we're looking at and talking to this group about is just trying to make it easy, make it simpler, software at times can be so underutilized. And so how can we help you guys as leaders be more operationally efficient? So, Robert, what's your perspective here? You guys, I'm sure, have used a lot of different systems and technologies.
Yeah, same concept. I think, for us, as we're looking to develop the program and get involved in it and start adding vehicles, obviously, using AI tools to help generate some of the processes and, softwares to help with the appointments and kind of manage the system itself is definitely key. Realistically, I think we still have a suit in social media to keep pushing that program and keep promoting it out to the customer base and the local base, and still hitting social media aspects of it as well to make sure that, like everybody said here, there's still customers that don't realize that we're even have these products or services half the time. So still trying to get in front of the customers is the biggest feat I think you kind of work with. So, we have different AI partners right now that we're focused in. We have different ones in different markets to try to trial out and see what's going to be the best fit for either the market, the store, or maybe just the company in a whole. But I think realization is one is the best product to run the program itself, to keep it managed in the store, and it's got to be simple and easy to use. Kudos to you guys for what you've developed and what I've sat through. I've sat through a couple different companies, and you guys have definitely done a great job at Spiffy with how the program integrates and how simple it is to use. And a little shameless plug for you, but in relation to sitting through it, just being honest, if you go through and sit through the setups and how you guys have it controlled, it's been real simple at the end of the day. And anything I look at from my standpoint when I'm going to integrate it, like you said, having multiple logins, whatever we do has got to be simple, because if the staff can't use it at the end of the day, it's going to be tough to kind of get over that hurdle. So it's got to be easy for them to use, and I think that's kind of been the key point of where I look at the products for what we're looking at to use to get us through those kind of hurdles as we're growing.
Yeah, great. No, thank you. I appreciate the additional plug. Not needed, but I appreciate it. But thank you. And again, I think that's what makes what we've done a little bit unique, because we built a platform to run a business, right? And so our own business, and now we're bringing it to the dealerships to help accelerate. Those are great discussion points. Sorry, my screen just went down here. Obviously during the pandemic, we had a lot of companies come out of the pandemic. I think about Uber Eats and DoorDash and some of these conveniences that have happened, and a lot of technology and software that, I watch my kids, I'm sure that you guys do too, where, they just order stuff and it shows up like magic. Think of, what Amazon has created, and then all these other companies have kind of added on to that experience. So this mobile experience for customers, how has it been, Nolan? The feedback, the CSI, I think of someone that's not on this call, Jim Sabino from All American Ford, who promotes his feedback from Google daily, the 5-star reviews that they get. It's been impressive. So Nolan, what's that look like?
Well, I think you nailed it, right? Amazon changed the way we do business 15 years ago, but COVID destroyed everything, right? And the younger demographic of customers that we have, they demand remote services, right? Like you said, Instacart, Uber Eats, right? Everything is on demand and delivered to you. So I just think that that's the way that this is going. Our business is going to be outside of our walls moving forward, because the demand is simply going to be there for us to show up and do business on their terms, on their time. And I think that's the opportunity people aren't necessarily always seeing right now, is that the demand is there. It's been there, quite frankly, for years. We just haven't really capitalized on it. So I think, the more services we offer, the more flexible we are with customers, the demand will be there. And to your point with CSI, you have to really try to get a bad survey with mobile service, right? Because we're doing everything on their terms. So as long as the repair is done right the first time, the work is, done cleanly, you're going to get a good survey. I mean, it's almost automatic. And there are months that go by, and I know Jim Sabino and, Ed Roberts and Jeremy all talk about it. They'll have months where it's perfect. right, on the mobile side. And I don't believe that's uncommon. I think that's probably the commonality. I think the exception would be bad surveys. But yeah, I mean, the CSI, everything comes with that ease of transaction for the customer.
Yeah, great perspective there. And, Nolan and Michael, I would consider their locations are kind of more in a rural area. And so what makes you a little bit unique in that sense. So, Michael, for you, you're anchored by two big cities, San Antonio and Austin. How's your customer feedback been since you just offered this and added your second van? And what have you guys seen there?
Yeah, same deal as Nolan. It's just second to none. You can't make them mad when you go to their house and they're in there doing their work or they're cooking supper or whatever they're doing, their daily business. They don't have to come spend an hour in my store or drive 45 minutes to an hour. We're going to them, and we've actually expanded our radius just because it's helped the customer. And once they find out, they're all in. And so exactly, I have not got a single survey under 1,000. We probably have about 22 or 23 surveys last month just on mobile.
That's great. Yeah. Keep those coming. And
it helps me on the other side because that repair work sometimes runs into some roadblocks.
Right.
Yeah. So Richard, I know you have robots running around, I think, in your shop, literally. But how is any feedback from customers been around anything you've added at the dealership level, whether it's, AI from answering your phones to any of your processes?
Well, it certainly has brought the customer experience up to a more modern feel. It's reduced friction, pain points for the customers, bottlenecks, and it just gives an overall better experience. And so, overall, our CSI has risen over time and very consistent now. It was a little all over the board, and it definitely has enhanced our customer experience. Our retention continues to climb, and mobile service is going to be the next iteration of customer convenience for us, as well as expanding our network. And I want to add something that we kind of touched on earlier, Troy, which was the emergence of DoorDash, Uber Eats, things like that. And there's a lot of parallels there with efficiency in that you've got a building, a restaurant, it's got a kitchen, a full service kitchen, right? You've got fryers and grills and all that kind of stuff. And one of the things that I've seen is if some of us may not be familiar with ghost kitchens. So we ran into this not too long ago. We were on vacation, and my one son, who has a preference for cheesesteaks, so we Googled up cheesesteaks near us, and there was a restaurant. There's a great website, all that stuff, but it was DoorDash only. And it was this whole, we got locations all over the place. And it was IHOP. It was the kitchen in IHOP that is using their grills and their fryers to make cheesesteaks, and they're marketing as, like, I can't remember the name, but, Cheesesteak USA or whatever. And so from the consumer side, they're ordering a cheesesteak from a cheesesteak place, but they're just cooking it up in the IHOP kitchen and door dashing it to you. And so if you look at efficiency, they're marketing to different audiences and getting cheesesteak orders. And I can't tell you the last time somebody went into an IHOP and said, "Man, I got to get the cheesesteak there," right? So there's a lot of parallels from DoorDash innovation, the Uber Eats innovations, Ghost Kitchen, to say, hey, we've got a restaurant, that we've got a kitchen, and you've got a dining room that only seats so many people. So we do take out, carry out, and then we got DoorDash, and now we've got Ghost Kitchens. And so you're getting so much more productivity and efficiency out of the fryers and the grills that are in that restaurant. We've got lifts and tools that fit any car, and we've got a way to expand our business to put it in your driveway right now. But it's still coming to you from the Honda, the Acura, the Ford, the Chevy, the Stellantis dealer. So it's a way to create gains, servicing cars and putting it, expanding your business all under the same guise, of we're the dealer and we're going to be out there and we're going to serve you.
That's a great point.
Very cool.
Yeah, that's great, and I appreciate you adding that. I didn't even know about these ghost kitchens, and I thought Nolan may have been talking to me too about it at one point. But that's fascinating, Richard. Yeah, that's a great share. Robert, your the reputation that your group has already, it has that great customer pull. What are you guys doing differently up at Carter Meyer with some technology?
Technology wise, a lot of what we're using is like a big part of it's just been the AI features and functionalities, growing into that world, utilizing it as a tool, not creating it to supplement or replace the people that are in the store at the end of the day. So it's a tool that's going to be needed. It's a tool that if we're left behind not using, we're going to be the ones falling behind. And as we tend to be in the automotive industry, we like to jump on late and try to make the best of a situation well after the fact. So trying to be innovative and stay in the front for automotive is huge in that regard. Very similar to like what Richard was saying. And like I talked to you, Troy, when we were setting it up here, the focus point we had when we were looking to put mobile out on the road was not to put a Stellantis dealership on wheels. We were looking to capitalize off what the manufacturer was providing back to us and then utilize our market for Subaru, for Honda, for Volkswagen, for Nissan, for Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, and put that out to the mix in what we were doing, not just attack one brand specifically, to Richard's point, and utilizing the fact that you can get out in front of any customer. It doesn't have to be that brand vehicle. You can service any vehicle that's out there. So, not staying pigeonholed to that situation has been good. But from a company standpoint, it's just been innovation. We're trial and error pretty much everything that we can. We're looking at different reporting companies that can give us reports back to streamline stuff. We're looking at different AI features from sales to service to parts. Anything that's going to help kind of grow us and utilize a tool that's going to make everything more efficient and more customer centric at the end of the day, I think is kind of the biggest focus of what we're looking at right now.
Yeah, great. Appreciate the share. And I think about the business, and for probably 10 years plus, there was a lot of focus on the digital experience on the variable side for the customer to walk through the showroom and what tools and technology were out there. I think when you go to NADA, that usually gives you a good sense of what's out there, right? You always are walking, and every other booth has a better platform, more software to offer you on that experience. And I think now, with the uncertainty on variable, they always will lean to fixed and say, hey, you got to help bail us out. That's where the money is. So under that same breath, the retention side, Nolan hit a little bit on this, but there's some numbers that I think it's at Nolan's group, and then Bozard, they're north of 70% retention, which is incredible. Thinking of all the stops that customer can make between their house and your dealership, all those other offerings that are out there. So I guess I'll start with Nolan. How have you driven retention, and how's mobile helped with your retention piece?
Sure. We've always been fairly strong as a group with retention, but mobile really drives it home. And, Troy, you and I have talked about this, but recently I've developed mobile service subscription packages. So what we do in F&I, whether it's a commercial or a retail sale, is we present the customer with a mobile service subscription, just like you would for HVAC or plumbing, but it's our group specific, right? So if they buy it here, they have to do their service with us. And we've had really great results so far from that, especially on the fleet side. On the fleet side, we don't have any static packages, so we tailor everything for the customer. And, for retention, again, we just make sure everybody knows that buys a car here, what we offer, here are the packages, and we try to retain them even more with the subscription plans. But, I am a believer that if you give people good service and, clear communication and you're honest with them, that the retention follows that. But, having the subscriptions is just another way to continue to drive business back to your store.
Yeah, great. And, Richard, you shared, I think, with Automotive News last week about an offering in F&I for mobile. You want to elaborate just a little bit more?
Well, it's certainly not completely developed, but it's something that we've looked at. We have a partnership with AGWS, American Guardian Warranty Systems. And, you're looking at something that if a customer is buying a maintenance package for whatever, $100 for 4 oil changes or whatever, numbers are not significant, but so if you're buying an oil change package for $100, would you pay $140 for mobile? And it's an extra $40, and whatever that number is, you can put that back through reinsurance, and then when you go out to service that vehicle, then there's 10 or 15, $20 to supplement, much in the way that some of the OEMs are providing incentives on a per visit basis to the dealer for mobile. So we can kind of create that environment, that ecosystem within the dealership, and actually probably add to the reinsurance and dealer reserve that's there, and help grow it.
Yeah, great. And this is the last question for Michael and Robert too, to add on with your retention. Michael, how's the early results been since launching mobile, and have you seen an uptick, or is it still relatively early, or what's your thoughts?
Yeah, it's still a little early, but we're now into it for 9 months, just about. And so we're starting to see those first time visits, and we're moving them to mobile, because what we do is on the sales side, they come over to the service drive and they're introduced to the service advisors, and they're asked, your first appointment want to be a mobile appointment, or do you want to come into the store? And then we explain the mobile situation, how it works. And so we're just now really starting to get our teeth sunk into the retention side. I was a couple points up last month from where we've been tracking. So it was very encouraging to see that at this point. But I suspect over the next few months, I'll start seeing some pretty good increment, gains on that.
Great. And then finally with Robert, anything to add to just the retention metric as a whole? What you guys have been doing there to help drive that number?
Retention-wise for us, so we've actually implemented, our marketing team has been big in going through our not only our declined opcodes and our customer base that's been coming in, but they've been pulling our units in operation, and we've been kind of just strategically kind of targeted them in each market, trying to push them back to the stores themselves and getting them kind of put in. So we've noticed in some aspects we have some overhang from our markets, because we're in certain areas we're a little closer to each other. So we're seeing them kind of trend to different stores, and we're trying to kind of get in isolation and see what's going on. And the big one, like I said, a lot of our stores were clumped in one market, and then everything around us is duplicated. So we have other Honda stores, other Subaru stores, other CDJR stores that we fight with pretty regularly as far as pulling that customer base in. So our marketing teams has been real big. And again, they're utilizing AI formats and reportings that they're generating through AI platforms to help target those specific customers that we're missing, targeting specific mileage-based customers. And then the big one, which I always kind of strive for, is targeting our off-brand vehicles out of our store, because we focus so much on the manufacturer report and the manufacturer retention. We tend to kind of let that one slide a little bit a lot of the time. So we spend a lot of time digging into the off-brand vehicles we're selling and making sure we're not losing them. We do offer similar aspects. We have maintenance contracts that we do in-house, like Nolan and Richard talk about, to drive the vehicles back to our dealerships independently and keep them coming to CMA, and then we can utilize them at our other CMA stores as well. So we can use the power of our group, and you can utilize that at any of our CMA stores, and then we kind of work around that just to help keep retention. Again, we try to look at the customer in a whole. We try to give the store its independence, but at the same time, try not to lose them out of CMA, so we have the same structure all the way around.
Yeah, I call that driveway envy, when you're out and you have a San Marcos van driving around and they're in a neighborhood, and the neighbor usually will come out and poke around and always go, well, what's going on over there at Michael's house? And then they start asking questions, and next thing you know, you can get that customer next door to do a service. So listen, you guys are fantastic. It's great getting you in a room, even, pinning any of you four down in the same time to get a collective 40 minutes is pretty big accomplishment. But I really appreciate what Dave has brought with this Automotive AI Summit. Great getting masterminds. It really is what I call you guys thought leaders, as I started the call, together to really talk about technology and AI and all the things that kind of come along with that to make a better customer experience. So thank you so much for your time today, and look forward to catching up in the future. Thanks, you guys.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Troy.